All right, you ready? 3, 2, 1. Welcome.
Okay.
Welcome to the show today. Slightly off target here on AccessWDUN.com. Bo Wilson alongside Jeff Hart and Seth Chapman, our producer of today's show, as usual. What's happening, guys?
Not too much. You know me, just struggling as always.
Yeah.
Getting ready.
You and the old OBS struggle bus.
Listen. Yeah.
Yeah. Completely agrees.
Got nothing. I got nothing.
You got nothing for that. Nothing. Well, we are working on a Windows 7 computer as well, so there's no updates for this program available, which would make it a lot easier for us.
I click the update button, the computer says no.
So sorry.
1907?
Yeah, 1907, besides it's a Windows product made by Bill Gates, which is, not any good, in my opinion.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talking about throwing someone.
The only guy that could be worth $106 billion in his product stink.
Okay.
Yeah. There's Bo's rant today. There you go.
Hey, you were out of sequence. That comes later.
It's in a sequence. All right, week 1 of high school football is in the books. As a lot of games last week, a lot of big outcomes last week. Before we get to some of those, we want to get to the first one that we have here. On with us today, West Hall head football coach Crofton Montgomery joins the show today as his Spartans are 1-0 heading into in-county rival matchup with the Vikings. Coach, how you doing, man? Congrats on the win last week over East Jackson.
Appreciate it, man. Just little Wednesday, just big day of practice and see where we go from here.
Well, Coach, let's talk a little bit about last week, a 14-7 win over East Jackson. It's, week 1, you hear coaches, and I'm sure that you're the same way. You see your most improvement between week 1 and week 2, but what did you see out of week 1 from your team that you liked?
Saw a lot I liked just from the scrimmage to week 1. A lot of improvement on the offensive line, more so than anything. Took care of business up there. We did a really good job. It's one of the better jobs we've done in the last couple of years up front, run the rock and just being able to kind of open up some seams. So I was pleased with a lot of the improvement there. Special teams was good. We had all touchbacks and punt average, I think, was 39 yards. We punted 3 times. So now defensively, I get off the field a little bit quicker, but the other stuff was pretty good. I was pretty pleased.
Well, Coach, I was out there on Monday. We were doing our Air It Out segment with you guys and was kind of watching practice. We talked a little bit about East Jackson, and I know we're going to talk East Hall, but, that was a really tight ball game. Y'all have improved. They have improved. But your defense really looked like it. I think they were on you 7-0, and then y'all shut them out the rest of the game. You had a couple of picks, a big iron interception return, I believe, by Mayo. Your defense looks like it. I'm not going to say midseason form, but with your linebacking group, looks like that's going to be a fun group to watch all year.
Yeah, I mean, we hang our hat. 2 years ago, we kind of, me and the coordinators, kind of made a decision of what direction we want to take this and where we're going to make our improvement. And playing good defense is something that we stress. That's our number one goal every week. Is we will put a game on the defensive shoulders if we got the lead, and that's just that's what came to fruition last week. They were 2 for 9 passing for 7 yards. We had 2 interceptions. That's a pretty good job by the secondary. I think they averaged 3.2 per carry, and that's about what they did. I think they had 130 total yards. So they had one drive where they got us a little bit on some things, but offensively, I would like to see us finish 2 drives that we had, one in the interception, the other one, a holding call, put us behind the 8 ball. But besides that, I was pretty pleased with the game. I mean, the time of possession, with the lightning delay, everything that took place, I was pleased with the outcome because East Jackson's a pretty good team. They took the plan that they had, they executed it. They wanted to hang on to the ball. For a spread team, they were running the ball. They're large up front, extremely large. one of the biggest offensive lines I've seen. I'll be interested to see how they do as the year goes on, because I think that they got a pretty good ball club that's going to be able to do some things.
Well, Coach, you come into this season with a new quarterback leading your offense, Nick Sturm. I know that this is the first time I think in about 4 years you've had a different person playing at the quarterback spot. How did you feel your quarterback play was from Nick?
It was good. He was 9 for 11, 89 yards. I would like to see maybe a few more plays downfield. But for what they were doing, they were bailing, playing cover 4. So they were kind of giving us anything underneath. He did a really good job of executing with the game plan. Nick's been a guy that started since he's a freshman. Got all the confidence in the world in terms of having him on the field. He's a gamer. He's a competitor. He gets after it. And the thing I think he needs to improve on the most would be just when he's running the ball, he wants to run everybody over. He's a big physical kid, and he literally on film. In fact, we were watching this morning. He could have walked in the end zone twice. I mean, we had it blocked up perfect, and he instead just lowers the shoulder and tries to drive somebody and knock them out. And I told him, I said, man, you're not playing linebacker here. Just put it in the zone right here. Instead, we had to play another play, and then we handed it to number 2, who just has a nose for the end zone. So
right. Well, I'm sorry. Well, Coach, this week you get Cleet Cooper in East Hall, and he was among the top 3 or 4 passers in Class 4A last year. So that's going to put a test on your defense. I think that's probably going to be the key matchup in the entire game, is whichever unit wins that battle may win this game. But do you think that's going to put a little extra pressure on your offense to make sure they get some things going? Because, East Hall is probably going to have some quick strike ability.
Yeah, I guess to an extent. But, like last week we took a knee. I mean, we could have scored again. There was still a minute left. I mean, just the way the game played out and the way we were playing it on the road with everything that was taking place, we weren't going to unveil some things or do some things that were going to put us in a bad position, because just kind of the flow of the game. So I feel like offensively we're going to be able to do some things this week. I know that there's a quick strike type team, but they also don't have Masari Walker, Tabor, and some of the guys they did last year. I know they got some newer weapons, but those 2 guys they had last year that made all the catches were making some unbelievable snags early in the season. So, I had to tip my cap last year to some of that. So, but he's a dynamic player, and honestly, the secondary and him, that's the big matchup. But the secondary is only going to be able to cover for so long. So you got to get that rush. You got to have pocket presence. You got to contain that pocket, not let him get out and kind of Johnny Manziel it, because he's good at it. He's one of the better ones I've seen. When a play breaks down, he'll roll around and he makes things happen.
Well, Coach, I know you've been against some of those Matt Turner offenses at East Hall back when he was offensive coordinator. Or you've seen some of those offenses. Are you expecting anything different out of this year's offense from East Hall?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely he's got his own spin on what he does offensively. I think probably working with Lee Shaw probably helped him a lot as well, kind of incorporating some of that. But he does a good job of keeping things spread out. And I mean, if you're giving him a 5-man box, he's going to run it. Give him a 6-man box, he's going to throw it. It really comes down to numbers. It's a numbers game. They count them. They count them quick. You're trying to look to see where your matchups are, and that's what the whole idea of the air raid and what they do is about. It's trying to basically take the advantage of the numbers on you. So we got to be able to hit home with our down 5, and our guys that play in the box need to be able to make things happen. And if we can do that, I'll put my secondary up against anybody. That's our strong point, and we pride ourselves on our back 4. So they got a big test, and they know it, and they're preparing for it. So.
Well, how important is it to keep that momentum that you got from last week? West Hall hasn't started 2-0 since 2015, and it really doesn't truly matter until you get to the region. But you had a solid start. East Hall beat you last year. Is that important to keep that positive momentum going with a win, particularly with some of the games you got coming up?
Oh, yeah, no doubt, especially with the changing of the field and everything that took place. We were supposed to be home next week, but now that's an off week. So we'll have an off week next week. Then we play Chestatee at Chestatee, and then we have another off week before region play. So just really being able to lay it all out there, knowing that we have a week off here, play another game that week off. A lot of improvements between, end of camp to now, and just kind of keep continuing to get better. But momentum's a fickle thing. I mean, kids and confidence is key. Kids think they can do it. A lot of times they do it. And that's trying to get into the psyche and the heads of a 15, 16, 17-year-old, especially, kids that are kind of the blue-collar type players that maybe don't live football 365 days a year like some kids. You really got to reach out to them with the relationship piece and get them to play for each other and for the team. And it's kind of part of our mantra of climb. We talk about commitment, the little things, intensity, mental toughness, and brotherhood. And we've been really harping on the L part, and that's the little things. And we do the little things right, because 3 to 5 plays in a game, that's the difference. It always is, one way or the other. And when the momentum gets going, the drums get beaten, as I say, on one side. I mean, a tidal wave can come and get you, or you can be the tidal wave. So what do you want to be?
There were some big matchups last week between 7-3A and 8-3A. There's a couple more this week. I believe they split in those games. What have you noticed, and or what are you seeing early? And I know it's really early, but 7A, 8A, 7-3A, 8-3A may match up. What have you noticed from that core of teams? That's 7, 8, 9, 10 teams in the area.
Well, trying to focus just on our opponent, but at the same time, talk to a lot of coaches all the time, and get chances to see some others on film. And
was there anybody in particular that impressed you last week?
Well, I mean, I know Cherokee Bluff's a good team. They're well coached, and they're going to be a good team. I know North Hall was pretty impressive, but to be expected with the amount of returners they have, and especially early in the year, playing a wing T is like playing a triple option team. Boy, the eye discipline's got to be really good, and even then, you're still going to get gouged at times. So North Hall, I think, probably pops off as the team that looked really good. White County not having J. Ben Haynes, that pops off just because he's been there for so long. I'm to not have to see him in the pocket. So, but Stevens County, we got a chance to go against them in a paddock camp. They're a really good team too. They're very physical, and they run the ball, and they do some really good things. So I know that that was probably a really good test between those two teams. But besides that, I didn't get a chance to really see a whole lot from Dawson or see scores, but I don't put a whole lot of stock into an August 20th game that we don't play until October 20th. So.
All right, Coach. We appreciate you taking some time out of your laundry schedule today, by the way.
Yes. Always, man.
Boy, your shirt really looks white on the screen, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, it looks really clean,
Coach. Starch.
All right, Coach. Well, good luck this week.
On.
Yeah, and we look forward to seeing what happens on Friday night between you and the Vikings. Thanks, Coach.
I appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Right.
That should be a great game over there in Utah.
I think it's going to be an interesting game.
I do too. That's kind of one on what's on my radar.
It's one of those games where you look at, you've got West Hall, and we talked about it back in the summer. We talked about it when we were putting the magazine together, that West Hall really has a lot of key players returning, on both sides of the ball.
They do. I tell you, I love that linebacker. They got 5 linebackers that could probably start for just about any team. So they are really deep when you look at Talil Blackwell and Nick Sturm. Playing linebacker or quarterback. I guess he threw it some when he's running over people. But I tell you, that's if that group is able to stay healthy, that's the kind of unit that could make a difference in the region. Just because I think that unit is that good. So if they can stay healthy and the offense can continue to develop, because, there's some new pieces.
Well, that's the biggest key is going to be for West Hall is the offense continuing to develop with, all the folks that they ran. Noah Galt, he had the receiving yards.
Right.
I see Malik Richardson added 33 yards rushing. You also have, Blackwell Talil, who can come out of the backfield, who's a big bruising back. So if they can get the offense going along with that defense, it's probably going to be really good.
They're going to be one of the better ones in the region.
West Hall could be in that top 4 at the end of the year.
I tell you, I think this is going to be a great matchup. When you talk about that defense, because now I was at the East Hall scrimmage with Riverside. Now, Riverside was massively undermanned. I mean, like, I think they had 11 starters that weren't able to play for various reasons, kind of just getting paperwork and acclimated and all that kind of thing. But there were a couple plays that Cleat made with. He's got a new receiving corps, pretty much almost that was absolutely sick. Where he scrambled to his right, and he's rolling, and on the run he throws a dime to the edge of the end zone, and number 13 for East Hall, and I can't place his name at the moment. Laid out 2 feet in that that you don't draw that up,
right?
And I'm going to tell you, I think this is going to be a great matchup because I think. We talked about that East Hall offense. I think they're probably going to be able to score points pretty much against anybody. The defense is going to be the issue for them, as it always has been. And if they can, get some things going. But I tell you, that East Hall offense against that West Hall defense, that might be the best single matchup in the area all night on Friday.
I think it's going to be, like I said earlier, an interesting matchup because not only do they have Cleet Cooper, but they have Marcus Holcomb out of the backfield.
Big old boy.
Huge. I
found out something doing the air it out.
Yeah.
He's never played offense. This is his first year playing offense and running back. And according to Matt Turner, it's kind of taken to it like a duck to water, which is, when you got talent and you find the position. So that's going to be interesting to see what kind of a year he can put together.
Well, we shall see. That game is on AM 550. You can check it out this week on AM 550 WDU and also streaming live on Access. Now, Jeff, we look across the area in week 1, and not to rehash anything that happened because we don't want to rehash on the show.
No.
We want to talk about number 1 2A versus number 1 4A, and that would be Jefferson Rabun at a game that you were at.
All right.
But not to rehash the game, your takeaway coming away from Memorial Stadium in Jefferson on Friday.
Well, we know we got Gunnar Stockton, and we know we have Malachi Starks, and you got Sammy Brown, and you got Jordan Perry, and we got Baxton O'Brien for Jaden. I mean, there were just a slew of tremendous players on the field. I think that the two things that I took from that were really Rabun's defense. That was probably one of the hardest hitting games I've seen in a while.
Watching the highlights, man.
You could hear the popping from up in the press box. It was loud. It was noticeable. Seth was down on the field. I'm sure that when those defenses were hitting Seth at Jefferson last week, it was loud in the press box. So I know it had to be loud on the field when you were down there filming.
Most assuredly, that game. What a hard hitting game for both defenses and just an exciting game for all.
Yeah. That's the thing I take away. The Rabun defense, and we talked about that. It's not that it's held them up. It's that when they see some of these bigger, a little more physical teams from South and Middle Georgia, it's a tough matchup. They shut out Jefferson in the second half. They were hitting hard. I think, Malachi didn't play quarterback the entire time. He had some fumble snap issues, but I think also they were hitting so hard. I think they were kind of like, we don't want to get him hurt in the first game because they were really hitting hard. So I was impressed by the Rabun defense. Jefferson defense was ridiculously good. The Rabun receivers, and they're pretty good, they had a hard time getting open all night. There's one great catch by Jaden Gibson. It's like a 50-yard. And Gunner's running around. He's running for his life because he's being chased by 4 or 5 big guys, and he just
you can see it on the
Jaden sees it and he takes off. So you think, okay, he's gonna, but when he took off, the Jefferson defender was on him the entire time. There was that play right there. He was covering him like a blanket. He just made a tremendous catch, and it was like that all night. So I think Rabun's going to be fine. They have a great non-region schedule. If they're not ready for Class AA quarterfinals and beyond after this region, they never will. Yeah. They've got some great games on schedule, really going to test them. And
Rabun up on the worldwide leader of sports coming up on Saturday.
That's 2 times in 2 years.
Pace Academy at their place. So that'll be interesting. But going into this game, though, Jeff, it was I talked to Coach Cathcart about the game, talked to Jabo about the game, and both seemed to think it could either be a shootout or a defensive battle. Lightning delay for 95 minutes. Do you think that they turned it into a defensive battle.
I think so, but maybe Seth can also answer this. It seemed like when they went to the Lightning delay, it took a lot of the starch out of that game. There was a lot of there was you could cut it with a knife. The excitement, it was.
I mean, going into Lightning delay after this play,
right after that play, I mean, it was
Sammy Brown.
Yep.
His
Sammy
debut,
Brown breaks
157 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Insane.
Well, and it did. I think that when they came back from the Lightning delay, and that was a long time, and the players, I'm not going to say that they didn't try to, air it out on both sides, but I think there was a little more conservative play calling. But I really think Jefferson's defense kind of set the tone there in the second quarter. I think Raven had like 18 yards in the second quarter, 2 3-and-outs, fumbled the kickoff. That kind of set the tone. Then they go to the halftime and they come back. And then I thought Ravens' defense set the tone in the second half, but, Gunner and them just really couldn't get a whole lot going against that Jefferson defense. I tell you, that's the takeaway. Those two defenses, they're going to carry them far this year.
So Jefferson down at what Coach Cathcart says is an improved Central Gwinnett team coming up on Friday.
61-7 last year.
I know. We'll see how that goes.
Okay, just letting you know.
Flowey Branch getting that first ever win over a private school over St. Pius in a game that David Renard just absolutely showed out in for the Falcons as they rally back from a 14-point deficit to win that game 21-14. And watching some of the external highlights, unfortunately we didn't have any highlights of the game. We had photos. But watching some of the highlights of that game, David Renard looked really good.
I'm not surprised. He's gotten better every year.
Yeah.
And, I think as he goes, I think that offense is going to go. I think he has the ability to kind of get guys in the right spots and keep things moving along. But 14-0, then they win 21-14. I think you can now look at that Flowey Branch defense. Boy, they buckled down, and I think that's going to be the key for them the whole season is that defense, which we thought was going to be really. It got better. It was young last year. It got better every week, and to see them come out with that kind of an effort right out of the gate, you got to be like, you got Flowey Branch on your schedule, huh? Yee. I think the points going to be hard to come by with them. Which I'm already looking ahead to that Jefferson Flowey Branch game.
Oh, are you?
Oh, I am. Boy, if we thought the Raven game was hard hitting, I can only imagine with like a possible region title on the line.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that is going to be.
That'll be.
But you got to. This was that signature win for the Falcons,
right?
That they've been looking for the last 2 or 3 years. So it'll be really interesting to see how they move forward from this. Sometimes you chase something for so long and you get it, you have a tendency to relax.
Mm-hmm.
So if they don't relax and they keep, they keep every urgency every week, I tell you, this is going to be a team that. I'm going to go deep. I do.
Well, Gainesville's Corky Kell debut did not go as they had wanted it to go.
You have this written down like this. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, well, I have it written down, but I'm not going to say it.
You're not. You chickened out.
Yeah, I did check it out. 26-10 loss to Johns Creek. On Friday, a 5:30 kickoff. They had the early game on the Corky Kell Classic, Peachtree TV.
It looked hot on TV.
It was hot.
It looked hot.
It was hot. It was hot. Gainesville came out, though. Now, I will say, this offense has the potential. You could see it from, the opening drive. You could see it throughout the game. They have the potential with sophomore quarterback Baxter Wright, now in control of that offense. They have potential offensively. The offense moves the ball around like Coach Webb wanted. He told us last week that the balance to him was spreading out to different receivers. Right. And they did try to do that.
If they don't get
Johns
the
Creek.
pick in the end zone, then they're possibly up 17-0. How different is that game at that point?
I think it's a lot different in the aspect of if the pick doesn't happen, they get points off of it. Also, a point in the game, it was 19-10. They missed a field goal, which would have also given them a little bit more momentum. Khalid Maddox before the half, he batted a ball, intercepted it, thought that would give them some momentum going into the locker room. They did come out, force them to punt, and then just their run game, Johns Creek's run game, the big offensive line just began to lean.
Yeah,
Gainesville had no answer.
We were texting back and forth, and you were just like, boy, these guys are huge. A lot bigger than we thought. Kind of remind you of the Gainesville teams from a couple years ago.
Right.
And, you play that way, you get beat that way.
Right,
So it's
right.
But
I think they learned a lot in this game, though,
Well,
offensively and defensively, but especially offensively, because that was the main key coming into this season was new offensive coordinator Chad Bennett, along with Baxter Riley quarterback. I think Gainesville has, the tools in the toolbox to make it work as the season progresses. They get into region play.
Look, there's only 2 guys on that offense, really, when you look at it. They got maybe 3. You got Ruiz, who moved, I think, from center to tackle.
Yep.
And then you have Naeem Cheeks. Everybody else is pretty new. I mean, you got a whole new receiving core. When I say new, the guys were there, but they weren't the main focal point.
Right,
so now they're having to, take the whole focal point, and you got a new quarterback who we think is going to be really, really good. So there's a lot of moving parts there to kind of get integrated. So I think that's what we were kind of waiting to see is, how was it going to go? And they jumped on
Honestly,
them. They jumped on them early.
Honestly, I felt like the offensive line, did well. For
looks
having
like
a lot
they just
of
got
new
worn
parts
down on the defensive end.
in there. I just believe that on the defensive side of the ball, Johns Creek was having its way at points.
They're going to run into some big teams.
So
they're going to run into some big teams. So that's going to have to be something they're going to have to address.
Of course. So, and you look downfield receiving wise. You said some new guys, at the receiver position. That will also improve as the season goes on.
Right.
Gainesville, they will go down to Chattahoochee, which is interesting for the fact that I emailed Chattahoochee. Didn't know this because, we don't have a lot of teams that play Chattahoochee.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't around here when this happened. Which
you're not from around here, you're saying.
Which you may not have known this.
I
but
didn't
Mike
remember
Malone
it.
is the head coach at Chattahoochee, who is a former Gainesville player and assistant coach under Bruce Miller, who is now the head coach at Chattahoochee. So Gainesville going down to play against one of its own at Chattahoochee.
That will be kind of interesting.
Cool.
It's been a rough go for him. I looked
at
I looked at his career record there.
Mm-hmm.
It's been look, that's a tough place.
Lost to Alpharetta last week.
I mean, boy, there's a lot of schools. You don't know exactly how they're zoning.
It's Fulton County.
Yeah, so there's that's a tough place.
That's a tough place.
Tough place to play and win and be consistent. And
so that'll be a good game. We'll see what happens as Gainesville travels down to Chattahoochee. All right. So Seth has a new feature here on the show today. It's called Kicks and Giggles. We had it with our All Access players, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of the same
it's
thing.
Kicks and Giggles, kind of the same thing. This is a little bit more loose environment that we're shooting for. Maybe get to know the kids a little bit and get to,
Oh, is this your
have some
tips
fun
and
with them.
tricks?
Yeah, this version of it is what I've dubbed tips and tricks, and then just some fun stuff about the athletes. Let's take a look at it, guys. We have one of our we have our Gaining the Edge athlete of the week with us this week, in Kevin Rochester from North Hall. Your favorite lift might be the one that hurts you the most, might be the one that you think is the most important. What's your favorite lift in the gym?
Squats. I love squat, front, back squat. I love working out the legs, getting the legs bigger. It hurts, and it hurts especially in practice running later, but it's so worth it, and it's a lot of fun.
Least favorite thing in practice, the thing that maybe hurts you the most, but you think is the most beneficial?
Running, anything to do with running when they make us run a certain amount. I hate running, I hate cardio, but it definitely helps us out, especially on a Friday night to be able to run. So don't do anything half speed. I mean, unless the drill specifically says to go half speed, but give everything all you've got. Have the tenacity about you. You got to have the heart to do it. You have to want to do it if you're going to do well.
All right. Thank you much, man.
Thank you.
Whenever you throw Kevin the ball, he'll wipe his hands on his chest real quick and then catch it. And I mean, it's just kind of funny. He kind of always is kind of rubbing himself before he kind of catches the ball, and we kind of always, laugh when he does that. But
I think he does that.
I don't know. I think it's just a habit that he just, if you go watch the film, he will touch his chest and then catch the ball whenever it goes to him. But and we always laugh about that every time that goes on. But
when Kevin's going to catch a pass, he will take his hands and do this on his shirt right before the ball gets there, and it usually doesn't help him much.
You were the Coach Cunningham.
Oh, wow.
How funny is that? You had both Bradford and Coach Cunningham doing
said
the same
exact
thing.
Same thing. That's why I had to put them right after the other.
That's great.
They said the exact same thing.
Wow. I don't think I've ever seen anybody
That's
do
definitely
that.
was some kicks and giggles.
I will tell you that running thing, I totally get that. I know it's always going back into tennis now. always comes back to tennis.
Oh.
I didn't run when I was a junior player, but I did line.
Can we turn his mic off
No,
now? And now we move.
But when I joined the high school team, new coach made us run a mile. I almost quit right there that day because I was like, run a mile at the same, just at one time. Yeah, you guys I tell you what.
I'm trying to get him to stop.
Yeah, I see that. A lot of encouragement.
What was Kevin's
What
first?
can I do?
Yeah.
What can I do
we didn't
from
hear
over
the
here?
first thing of it.
What
So
was the first question you asked Rochester?
hear it.
Oh yeah, I had to bring.
His favorite workout,
Yeah, his favorite.
which
what's
was
his,
squats?
Yeah, squats.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
I called it. I cut
Yeah.
I cut the part out where I on camera went. I called it. Where's Bo? I called it.
Yeah.
Probably his favorite.
Squats, yeah. Well, 248 yards rushing.
Yeah, it's a
Can't do that
rusher.
without
That's why I
squatting.
called it.
Yeah.
Well, you got to get those legs so you can do the 248.
That's right. So,
Well, you know
by
what?
the
I'm
way,
go-
before we move on here,
I'm going to be at North Hall, so I'm going to. If they throw, I hope
So
they throw
will
him
I.
a pass. I hope
Yeah.
they throw him a pass.
Hey, we'll
You've
be
got
at the
to
same
get
game
that.
again, Jeff.
What are you doing to me?
anyway,
Why?
before we move
I think
on,
it's more what is he doing to me?
Why?
before we move on here, in a more serious note,
Ooh,
Uh,
serious.
There are
Uh-oh.
serious notes in here.
we appreciate Coach Stuart Cunningham, the defensive coordinator, coming on with us, who was left in charge by Coach David Bishop, whose mother had passed away and was laid to rest this week. So our thoughts, prayers out with Coach as he deals with the loss of his mom and his family and so so there it is for Coach Bishop, and we appreciate Coach Cunningham stepping in to take over the lead.
Boy, he was
And,
accommodating because we
yeah.
put a lot on him for about
Oh,
a
yeah.
week. For a week and a half, he's like, "What?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, "But David just left me all of this." It's like, wow.
So
Great
anyway,
interview too.
Yep, Stevens County coming to North Hall this week. We'll have our Pick'em show, hopefully, later on this week, and we'll get that on for you. So we'll have some of those.
I hope it goes
games in
better
there.
than the first one.
Yeah, I do too. All right, let's move on to one of our favorite segment of the show.
You kind of left me hanging. I thought you were going to intro
I
it.
thought you were going to be ready for that.
I was, but I was waiting
normally
on.
when I start talking about slightly off target, you're like,
Well, I mean, I'm ready for the audio cue for you to be like
So,
slightly for you to
I
say,
was just
"Oh
gonna
no,
let you
target,"
open it.
and then I go to the intro, but you just kind of dropped me there.
I dropped you. Okay.
Yeah.
So first order of business on target, off target. We were on target. We were off target last week. Both of us said, "Will Beaufort, Branch, Gainesville, Commerce, Dawson, Lakeview, West Hall, White win?" We both said off target, I believe. Beaufort rallied to win. Branch won. Gainesville lost. Commerce held on to win 10-0. Dawson fell. Lakeview fell. West Hall won. And White County couldn't score in the second half, losing to Stevens County 34-20.
Yeah, did we say we thought all of them would win?
That was it. The question last
Right,
week
and we
was
answered
Beaufort,
again.
Branch, Gainesville, Commerce, Dawson, Lakeview,
Well,
West
since
Hall, White
I
County
picked
will
North
all
Cobb,
win.
Yeah, but see, on the show that we didn't see, sorry, Beaufort, I picked North Cobb to win that game. So I know I said off target.
Yeah. Well, I said off target, too.
Okay, which
Yeah.
means we were on target.
I think I did. I don't know.
Which means we were on target with our off target pick. That's the way
no
this
bug
works.
on that one because
Yeah.
I'm confused.
Yeah, me too. All right. So only one this week because I wanted to kind of talk about it a little bit longer than usual, I guess, is on target, off target. This whole hello to the cool kids with the ACC, Big Ten, and Pac-12 alliance.
Man, it's probably on target with the way things are going in college sports right now. In that story it says this is in no way a reflection or reaction to what the SEC did. Right. I believe that. You believe that, Bo?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
from the Big Ten Commission.
Yeah.
Commissioner
I don't
Kevin Warren.
I don't
by the
believe
way.
that for a second.
Yeah.
This is just they're trying to solidify themselves because they know the way this keeps going. Particularly the Pac-12, they're almost irrelevant as it is. The Big Ten is becoming irrelevant, and the ACC, except for Clemson, just sucks.
There you have it from Jeff
Well,
Hart.
then,
So there you go.
Hot take from Jeff
Yeah.
Hart.
So there you go.
Hot take.
I mean,
well, we know what's driving
You didn't
this.
tell me we had it from the heart on this one.
We know what's driving
oh, yeah,
this.
you just pull that out and use it. There you go.
It's not exactly the SEC.
No,
It's the TV market.
it is, and that's I think they're claiming that has nothing to do with it. They say, well, we're trying to make sure that we the solidify college athletics. Look, I think there is something to that. I think the SEC going out and making a power grab, which is basically what it was. When you take Texas, which had their own network, and now you bring them in, and
you can't tell me though that Texas and Oklahoma didn't first request to come to the SEC. I don't believe that the SEC probably went, hey.
Oh no! I think Texas right. I mean, my guess is it's probably started. Texas is not really good other than say baseball and maybe men's basketball right now. I mean, name another sport where they're doing a whole lot that isn't a periphery kind of sport.
Right.
So that that Texas, that Longhorns network was who's watching it.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know that the SEC network,
Texas was the downfall of the Big 12 from the beginning because of that
absolutely
Longhorn network.
We talked about this.
Yeah.
They should. We said, look, hey guys, we're going to do this. Let's just make it a Big 12
Big
network.
12.
A Big 12 network like the SEC.
Oklahoma State
right.
or Texas A&M and Missouri wouldn't have left. Nebraska would still be there.
That's right.
It would still be the old Big 12 conference, but instead Texas wanted, the Notre Dame type television contract, which,
I don't know how well that's helping Notre Dame.
Oh, it's helping Notre Dame spot it. NBC, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they're real relevant, Notre Dame is.
Well, it doesn't matter if they're relevant or not, Jeff. It's Notre Dame.
Okay. I don't watch them.
Yeah, look, I'm not a fan of Notre Dame. You're not a fan of Notre Dame, but we know the history of Notre Dame, and that's why NBC loves Notre Dame, and so NBC gives them a massive amount of money.
Look, I think that's hurting Notre Dame. The reason I think it's hurting Notre Dame is because they refuse to join a conference, and you can't do it as an independent.
How does it hurt them, though?
Because as an independent.
What about 2012 when they got in for the national championship and got their eyeballs beat out? How did that hurt them?
All right, so 2 years since
How did that hurt them?
In 2 years in the last 40, they've had teams that maybe could have competed. They were in the national scene every single year
for 30
or 40.
They've been on the national scene
not
for the
really.
last
Not
10
like
years.
how they've
been in the top 5. They've been in the top 10.
That's only because.
I mean, how is it hurting them?
Because they're
Give me how being an independent.
Because if they were part of
with a massive NBC television
they would
contract,
make more money. If they were in the SEC, they'd make more money from that TV package.
Well, you're probably right on
with
that.
the bowl teams.
As sweat
with the bowl
starts dripping down my forehead here because
with the bowl
air conditioner
teams,
does not work.
With the bowl teams,
right?
They would make more money in any conference than they make now with that thing.
You're probably right on that.
I feel very confident that I'm right.
But apparently Notre Dame doesn't care.
Well, they don't care, and so they can
They'll
continue
take
to be
their
irrelevant.
$48 million a year contract with NBC and go on.
I love it when they're. I love it when they're
shine their gold helmets and.
They do have good-looking helmets, though.
Slap! Oh, thank you.
Makeup.
It is hot in here.
Makeup.
Folks.
Where's Lauren? We need Lauren. We need.
So here's what I want to say about this. And you folks have probably read this stuff, but this is the comment from the ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips. The history of college athletics. One expansion of a conference has usually led to another, and to another. This is Jim Phillips.
Right.
And to the three of us, we felt the stabilization of the current environment across Division I and FBS and Power 5 in particular. This was a chance for a new direction, a new initiative that I don't think has ever been born or done before. Now, this is just saying, Clemson, please stay with us.
Right.
Don't try to jump.
Look,
Florida
if you keep going,
please stay with us.
If you keep going down, there's no contract. There's no signed document. There's an agreement among 3 gentlemen and a commitment from 41 presidents and chancellors.
But what is the commitment for?
I don't know. See, that's what this doesn't really make any sense because it's not like they say, well, we're not going to vote as a block. Okay.
But then why form an alliance?
Exactly.
What are you going to – oh, sure, we'll play you, Oregon. Sure, we'll
right.
Play a midnight game for you on a Friday night.
That's right. Without the commitment or saying, see, if they wanted to send shockwaves, they would say, we're going to vote as a block. Now they have control more than the SEC would have control. Right now, the SEC's got control.
What are they voting for in a block? Because
I don't know.
The SEC has the big TV contract.
I know.
The SEC in 2023 I think it's 2023, will now be on ABC and ESPN, not CBS. So what kind of control will these 41 institutions have?
I don't
which
know.
Name off the top of your head that are relevant in college football right now besides Ohio State
And Clemson.
and Clemson.
Oklahoma. Well, no, Oklahoma's coming to the SEC. I give up.
Okay.
Not even
So
USC anymore.
I don't
Not
know
even
what kind of
USC.
clout this gives them.
Yeah, I don't
other
know.
than the fact that maybe they'll try to go after Fox and get the big noon game for all 41 institutions. Who knows? Love Greg Sankey's response in the story here. We have respect for each of our conference colleagues and look forward to our future collaborations. I believe we remain unified by our shared beliefs around the positive impact college sports has on the lives of student athletes throughout our communities. That's from SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, which basically said, well, I won't say what I wanted to say. Basically, he's flipped the bird there, too.
I was going to say, yeah. I don't see him
That's
quaking behind his desk.
The emoji bird
In
finger
Birmingham.
all to those 41 institutions.
He's kicked back in his chair, feet up on the desk like Seth right now.
Like Seth is.
Right, in Birmingham, smoking a cigar and going, we win again.
Yes.
Special note: I am not smoking a cigar at
We
the moment.
Well, that
Smoking
is true.
inside is bad.
Yes, and
Smoking in general is
and
bad.
And it's too hot in here.
Don't smoke, kids.
It's 79 degrees in this room, folks. 79 degrees.
I dabbed your head once because it was funny. I'm not doing it again.
Yours is starting to get a little bit shiny as well.
Am I?
Yeah.
Just 'cause I'm greasy.
You're about to perspire.
Perspirate.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to just end up in a puddle over there in the chair?
I feel like it, man.
I got you.
Yeah, it's
warm.
great. We're gonna get out of here now. This is the final.
Well, we
hurrah
didn't talk
of
about
the
Twitter.
show
What's
today.
the deal with
No,
Twitter?
that's from last week. Just didn't delete it. So we're good to go on
gotcha.
that. Make
Okay.
sure you go to accesswdun.com's Friday Game Night page, as we got a lot of good stuff coming up for you today. We have I wrote the story. What I thought was some of the top games in our coverage area.
It's good.
Also on the website, the Coaches Corner just dropped, so go check out what 17 of our area coaches had to say about their contest this week.
We have
You've got your previews coming up, Air It Out coming up,
Game of the week.
Game of the Week coming up, Friday Pick'em Show hopefully coming up.
Man, we're busy.
I don't know if we have to shut it down in here, though. It's 80 degrees. It will be by the time we have to do the Pick'em Show. Anyway, let's get out of here. For Seth, for Jeff, I'm Bo. Check us out on Twitter at Friday Game Night, at HeartJJ22, at the Bo Wilson. Seth is on Instagram at Seth_Cinnamon Photography Perspirating.
You'll get it right one of these days.
Pac-12,
but probably
Big
not.
Ten.
Pac-12, Big Ten.
ACC.
Check us out. Have a great week, everyone. Enjoy week numero dos.